I'm Dominic Chorney, ancient coin specialist at Baldwin's.
I'm Oliver, the British coin specialist.
We've got a box of coins from the Baldwin's vault that we're going to look at today. We've picked some ancient coins and we've picked some British coins. So let's see what we've got in the box.
So I've picked 4 of my favourites that we've got probably coming up in our next fixed price list.
You say 4 of your favourites. There are probably about 50 coins in this box.
Yeah, so let's start with that.
Right.
So we've got what's called toy money here, Victorian toy money. They are absolutely minuscule. It's no wonder they didn't get lost. There's 27 of them in total, and they are essentially copper or brass copies of your favourite Victorian coins.
Is that a matchbox?
Yes, I think it might have been an old brass matchbox. It's nicely engraved, pretty rusted, but still a nice little group to kick us off.
I think they're great. Let's have a look at an ancient coin now. And I've got something really interesting. Would you believe me if I told you that this might be the most evil coin in history? This is one of the 30 pieces of silver that was given to Judas when he betrayed Jesus. They were popular in Judea, which was a state that didn't issue its own silver coinage. And you can see it's got that portrait of a kind of very hench-looking male god. His name was Melkart. He was a bit like Hercules. And then on the back, we've got the eagle. These coins were associated with the devil because the devil supposedly tempted Judas into betraying Jesus. At the same time, a lot of theologians think that Judas was part of Jesus' plan. So in a way, these are very virtuous objects, and they allowed the whole crucifixion to take place, the passion of the Christ, and eventually the resurrection. So it's a really interesting piece, highly collectible today. These are also dated to the year. So if you get one from AD 30 to 33, people really like those because they may have been issued around the time of Christ's crucifixion.
So the next British coin we're looking at is a crown of George IV, who's a somewhat overlooked king. He was a very decadent man, a flamboyant man, a real patron of the arts. So we've got a crown of his today. It's quite nice condition. It's darkly toned, a few light scuffs, but I'd probably call that extremely fine.
So the crown was the largest coin, the largest silver coin in circulation at the time, wasn't it? So it would have circulated generally among the wealthier members of British society. And I particularly like the George and the Dragon design. One of the earliest appearances of it on a coin. It was introduced for the sovereign, I believe, after the Great Recoinage. But yeah, really nice coin.
I think it looks great in silver as well, and particularly when it's bigger than the sovereign, I think you can make out all the details a lot better. So arguably one of the most famous ancient coins out there, the Athenian owl. It's iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, we get people asking me for these all the time. When people send us emails or they come into our shop, they want to buy an Athenian owl. These were issued in the 5th century BC, and they were minted when Athens was at the height of its power. It had an empire that stretched well beyond Greece into Asia Minor, and they had huge quantities of silver, and they were minting these things in massive numbers. The design's iconic today. We have the head of Athena in a sort of archaic style, and then on the reverse, we've got the famous owl. This is a particularly sort of early example. It's slightly earlier than the most common types, and we can see it's got a very three-dimensional owl, and then the Greek inscription for Athe or Athens.
And how much is one of these going to set you back these days?
So today you can buy these for around £800 or £900. When they're nicer, like this one, perhaps 12 or 1300, or maybe even up to 2000, if you've got a really good plume, a really good crest on the helmet of Athena, because the dies they used to strike these coins were too big for the blanks, so you miss a lot of the design. That's not really a problem at all, but if you want one that's perfectly centered, it'll set you back quite a lot of money.
Okay, for the next one, we take a little walk over Hadrian's Wall and into the lands of Scotland. And I've got here a coin of Alexander III. This is a really nice example, much better than you usually find, and quite a rare coin. Alexander III, quite an interesting figure. He became king at the young age of 7, and so a regency was established. And he was on the throne for a very long time, 37 years, I believe.
Goodness me, a long time, especially from the medieval period.
Exactly.
Only what I find interesting about this, this style is exceptional. The quality of the engraving is far better than anything you get from England at the time. Those portraits are all facing portraits. They're very stylistic. This one's actually, it's got a little element of realism to it, hasn't it? I think it's fantastic. And it's a profile rather than a facing head.
Yeah, there's lots more decorative elements in the Scottish coins of the time. We've got the sceptre on the obverse. In the quarters, we've got stars as opposed to the usual pellets. There's just more interesting things.
Yeah, that's a coin fact. If you want to tell the difference between a Scottish coin and an English coin for the Long Cross series, if you see stars in the quarters, it's Scottish. If you see the 12 pellets, it's English. From one Alexander III to another. We didn't plan this, but it's the perfect segue. I've got a coin of Alexander the Great, an arguably more famous king than Alexander III of Scotland. But he was Alexander III of Macedon. He reigned during the 4th century BC, and he's probably history's most famous general. And we've got a gold stater minted during his lifetime right here.
So that's not his portrait, is it?
No, it's not. You don't get any coins with the portrait of Alexander during his lifetime. On the silver coins of Alexander, we see a portrait of Hercules or Heracles with some strange facial features that might be Alexander. But on this coin, we've got a portrait of the goddess Athena, who we looked at on the silver Tetradrachm from Athens. And this is a helmeted head of Athena in very fine style. And if we flip the coin over, we can see Alexander in Greek. And then we can tell it's a lifetime issue because it's got that strange double-headed horse, so it does, feature control mark, which tells us it was minted at the Mint of Lampsacus in Turkey, and the huge amounts of research undertaken by numismatists over the last 100 years, we have a pretty good idea of which coins were minted during his lifetime and which ones were minted afterwards. And for our final coin, we've got this silver groat.
So this is Mary I, more commonly known as Bloody Mary. She married Philip II of Spain, which proved to be a deeply unpopular marriage. And this is a coin of their joint reign. You do get issues of just Mary on her own. This one's Philip and Mary, but the portrait is just of Mary. The crown is particularly bold, decent hair detail, never well struck, but I think really as good an example as you're likely to find.
So those were a few fascinating coins from our vault. Keep an eye on our fixed price list and our website over the coming months, and you might spot one or two of these coins coming up for sale. And remember, if there's something you're looking for, just send us an email to coins@baldwin.co.uk. We can always keep an eye out for that special coin for your collection.